Father God, we look to you today, and we're thankful for your blessings you've showered our community with, and we pray for wisdom as we make decisions for the constituents of our county. We're mindful of those that are less fortunate and those who have passed recently. We pray you would just watch over them and their families. Be with those that protect us, those that carry a badge and uniform. We pray you'd watch over them and keep us all safe. We ask it in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. Commissioner meeting, May 1st, 2017. Minutes, they were sent via email. Any corrections? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Okay, payroll number 9 for calendar year 2017 totals $220,533.51. We had a total of 217 claims totaling $397,981.10.
Motion to approve of payroll and claims.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Monty, you're first.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
We have 92 inmates, 5 are DOC, and 25 are F6 DOC.
So we're increasing a little bit.
Numbers are starting to inch away up.
Yes. All right.
And that's with DOC picking up last week. So.
Huh. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Josh. Good morning.
The second backhoe that we are renting, plugging away with that. They're working south. The first crew's still north. You guys approved renting a broom for all the bridges and intersections. That was completed last week. So we gave that back to them Friday. So that'll be off rent. The dust day schedule set, we were going to start today, but due to Mother Nature, that's getting pushed back. I talked to them this morning. We kicked around Wednesday, but being that there's more rain Thursday, Friday, we may just push it back and start Monday and just push everything back 1 week and do the dust day schedule then. Last year's conversions, the 950, 800, and the 400 West, we've now been able, with that dry couple weeks, to grade all those ditches and put in some check dams and such. So we're ready for chip and seal this summer on those. The bermstone's getting done. We've done our selection for chip and seal for this upcoming year as well. Going to do right around 90 miles, just shy of that. 71 will be existing roads, and then there'll be 6 miles of these conversions that we will do. They get triple coated, so like I said, it'll be about 89 to 90 miles of that. Still going through some equipment quotes and things. Should have those final quotes actually this week from McAllister is all I'm waiting on. And then I was just asked this morning, so I'll touch on that. Side ditches being mowed. We were going to start this week, but due to weather, it'll probably be a week or two out. We'll start mowing side ditches. All the mowers are being serviced and getting prepped now. So that's all I got.
For the board, Josh and I have spoken, and he and I will meet, if it's all right, next week. We're going to go over bids, general practices of the department. So bring him up to speed. That's all right with you?
Yep.
Good deal.
So
Keep us
Will do.
abreast of what happens and develops.
Just a quick question. You were having problems with the brimstone on Hoosier Highway. Is that sticking any better now that it's wet, or?
Yeah. Well, the key was getting it in before all the water, and so it was dry to pack in there a little bit. So yeah, I talked to Ron, which is doing our bermstone, and he said it's finally starting to hold in there. So
I haven't been down there lately. But
yeah, it's a lot better than it was, and it'll just more rain. 3 inches over the last week in some spots weekend, so it'll probably need some more too. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
One more thing. What I'd like to add is, we as commissioners really appreciate what you and Nate and Jared on the surveyor are doing to work together. I think we've got some good movement that I think will definitely benefit the county. So we appreciate all that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
thanks what you guys are doing with the detour on 224. So
Yeah, that's interesting.
phone doesn't quite explode as much as it needs to
Yeah.
be, so it's slowing down some.
And we're trying to keep the intersections too. If any of the homeowners bring it up, the major intersections around these detours, we're trying to keep them blown off and broomed because there's a lot of excess gravel collecting in intersections due to all the turning and such in intersections that aren't normally have that type of traffic. So
Good deal.
Also,
Thank you.
we need to open up the bituminous pit.
Yes, that was the next thing right here. So
So you're not leaving yet.
yeah, don't leave yet. So we have 3. Okay. And that's all the qualifications? Okay. Put a clip there, Bryce.
Oh,
The clip
you're
is
so
good.
smart. Thank
Yes.
you.
So-
the most important.
So the first one I have is from K-Tech Specialty Coatings, Inc. I'm just going to read a couple here. AE90 price is delivered of $1.48. The RS2 is $1.48. And AE-PL is $1.48. And there's numerous ones here, and we'll make these available afterwards so people can look at it.
Well, they're looking, the AEPL was 140, I'm sorry, this is Marathon Petroleum, out of probably Indianapolis. The AEPL is 145 per gallon, or 348 a ton, and the AE90 at 145 per gallon, or 348 per ton.
Asphalt Materials Incorporated, AE90, 127.76, and AEPL is 127.76.
And Mr. President, I'd make a motion to take these under advisement and offer these to the highway superintendent for his recommendation in a couple of weeks.
Second.
Okay,
Sorry.
I agree with that. Thank you, 3-0. Nate.
Do you guys want to do
Oh.
the sick bank too? Did you guys
Oh.
get a chance to look at that yet? Are you ready to adopt that or not?
I'm good with it. You got time?
I'm all right.
Just make,
Yeah, we put it out there before we did it
Yeah.
the whole house, so.
all right. There was a request to change the highway sick bank policy to match the rest of the county policy. So I would make a motion to accept it as recommended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. So it's nice when everything is uniform. So thank you. Okay, Nate.
All right. Well, I'll get around to this box here in just a minute. But
Okay, I was going to say, is there a lizard in there or something?
no, it's not a pet, or nobody gets any kittens today, so that's all right. Now, first thing, bridge number 79 over 200 on 200 south of Rock Creek. That bridge was opened a week before last, so
And it is beautiful.
It is.
I actually got stopped at dinner on or lunch on Sunday by a couple that lives next to it. They were quite happy. That was one of their their purple thanks for the week was that their bridge was open now. So
And the asphalt
I'm glad to
looks
see
nice.
that done. They did a good job, and I'm glad we took that asphalt out
All the way to the
All the way to
intersection.
the intersection.
That was a
Needed
good
some
move.
work,
Very nice.
additional bermstone. That I know the highway guys did a lot of extra work to try to add to that. So that came together as a good project. So hopefully that one lasts as long as we need it to there. in
As
that
long as you're
case.
in office,
That's right. That's going to be my first bridge, so hopefully we get a lot more like that.
you need to go right on it, Mark.
I didn't. There's no handprints from me on that, thankfully.
Put a
Coun-
bronze plaque on it.
Yeah, County Road 700 North. Start of work is still kind of dependent on AEP. We've got multiple calls into them. We're going to essentially rely on them for some coordination. Their poles are kind of in conflict with the available area I don't want to get temporary right away to do anything different. Let's just kind of work with them on it. Right now it's too wet to do anything. I wish it was in before rains like this, but we'll continue on. That's on our radar for this year. So as weather dependent and utility coordination will kind of be key. So once we have more of an update, I'll let you all know. Another item in here you'll have, it's one of the 2 color-coded sheets I gave you, is a draft revision to the Bridge Asset Management Plan. We've been working on design of 6 different bridge projects this year, looking to include those in a grant application under the Community Crossings Matching Grant Program. Those include bridges 66, 6, 118, Bridge 18, Bridge 56, and Bridge 303. Early estimates total those projects at about $1.5 million in total construction cost. With the language that the state just put out, Community Crossings matching grants no longer 50-50, it's 75-25. So our match would be somewhere in the range of $400,000. So I just wanted to put this in front of you. That's my current plan, along with whatever else that Josh is able to put together as far as material bids that we're comfortable with. I'm not planning on putting road conversions as we did last time with this. We've got an ample number of bridge projects that we'll be targeting. And then for the next year, 2019, you'll see I'm going to start putting together proposals for bridge design services. Once we know what we're awarded, or if we're awarded, then we'll see how we want to stagger this out. So I wanted you to just all be aware of that. That's the current plan for whenever they tell us they'll accept our application. So we're in a good position to move forward.
Thank you.
So, all right. Now, item number 4 is what we're going to talk about. What's here in this box is our road conversion petitions. There has never really been within the Highway Department a program for road conversion petitions. How we handle them, how we document them, how we report to you, the commissioners of the public, where we stand. So there's been a lot of confusion, and I've heard the frustration from the individuals coming in for Dust Day and then just in interaction with the public on the petition process. So Josh and I put a lot of thought into how do we want to address the public, how do we want to document it without creating an undue burden on Lindsay, the office bookkeeper, who answers the phones and takes the brunt of the issues in the conversation. So this is essentially a program that we're going to try out this year, and if it works well, we'll continue it essentially time immemorial. We'll figure out when we're done with all the road conversions. But since we have about 200 miles, I don't think we'll finish them all while I'm still here, but we'll see. The goal will be that we will accept petitions year-round. I've got copies of them here. We may change the form, but year-round we'll accept petitions for road conversions on from any landowner that's on the road they're trying to petition for. The petitions would be due by June 1st of every calendar year. Following June 1st, Lindsay, myself, and Josh will essentially go through, compile it, review it, double-check against GIS who's on the roads, and each mile section will essentially be identified with a project number. The higher the participation rate, essentially what we're looking for is as many petitions as there are landowners. So if you've got 7 landowners, that's farmers and homeowners on a road, we're looking for as many petitions for everyone as possible. At the first meeting in July, hopefully maybe the second, depending on how much work there is, I will essentially present to you, the commissioners, the official petition ranking list. It'll go through every road section that we have, property owners, the number of homes, the number of petitions we've seen, and a participation rate in the length of this section of road that they're looking at dealing with. Myself and Josh will also look at conflicts. Let's say there's a bridge on that road that we're scheduling to review, so we'll note that, or a railroad crossing that might complicate the project. Little things that might be sticking points in doing the job, we'll rank those and present that to you essentially as here's the information we have in a short format. I've got a draft of a ranking format here that goes through 39 projects. I think right now I'm sitting with over 42 sections that we have at least a petition on, some of them with 100% petition rates. I guess I would recommend a top 10 list, but honestly, it really just depends on, I want to have an official format to present to the public. After June 1st, any petitions we would receive would just simply go into a holding file until the next June 1st. And then we would go through the process of vetting and reviewing and compiling a new copy. So if anyone comes in and asks, we'll simply be able to hand that out. We could even post that on the website if you were interested. But the petition file here that you see in this box is every petition we have historically and recently are set in that file. So if it's not in that file, I don't have it.
Well, if I can interject
Sure.
just a moment, and I think it's fair to say that even though we might have 100% participation on certain roads,
Correct.
that sometimes in the event that there might be other needs that are required that might take precedence at that time,
Certainly.
that then they might have to be pushed back in line a little bit just based on the needs. But I just want to make sure everybody knows that just because you're number one on the list, we will do our best to accommodate what we can
Yeah.
based on what we get together when the finals are put together.
Yeah.
Your list will be the ultimate recommendation, and then the
Yeah,
commissioners
mine
will
is,
find a position.
mine essentially is a presentation of the
Right.
petition rankings and a recommendation based on that alone.
So that maybe there's a comment on the bottom that says
Absolutely.
that, so the public isn't going, you said.
We said, no, this is not the selection list per se, this is a petition ranking. So this is essentially your official information to go through it. So if it's not in this list,
Great.
I don't have a petition from the property owners. What we're attempting to avoid here is a situation where we select a road where there is essentially conflict. If we have property owners that do not want to grant right-of-way or don't want the road to be converted,
And we've had those.
and we've had those, and that
We just thought
experience-
we would introduce a policy and everybody would say, hey, what you've been doing for 10 years, let's jump on it.
Yep.
And all, be gung-ho, and not so much on a couple of them.
Yeah, and this avoids a number of issues. One, this allows the public to essentially prioritize roads in a way. At least then you know where the interest is.
Sure.
We'd expect 100% participation rates, but I've got files in here where property owners said absolutely no. I've got red pencil and people's phone and their handwriting listed on parcels that they absolutely refuse. That's fine. I don't expect 100% of everybody in Wells County want to have the roads converted. I don't expect that, but if we're going to work forward on making conversions, there's improvements that we need to make as part of that. So why make it harder on ourselves? If the money is available, then we'll do that. The nice part about this is something that's more sustainable. Historically, the petition process would ebb and flow with finances. So, and to those who filled paperwork out, I want to apologize on behalf of everyone that's preceded me in this, that we don't always have all of the petitions. The petition process, when there was money, we'd ask for petitions, we'd take those, and when the money would dry up, the petitions would be discarded or lost. And so that never kept a consistency, and that went through a number of phases over the last 25 years, let's say. So the goal is to keep that petition going, that petition process going, that even if you're in a dry time, we'll always have a queue of construction projects lined up, that we could be able to do planning, engineering, surveying, some design work, all in advance of selecting a project. Effectively, it's delayed the process from road conversion being selected, just start doing it, to select the design and plan, and then we can present to the public a better plan as far as what we're hoping to do. It creates more work for us, but even if money dries up, we can stretch the process out over a period of time, do drainage 1 year, let's say, do some stone and shoulder work another year, and also we're always making strides. We just don't pack up shop and quit 1 year because there's not enough money. So
Good.
hopefully that works, but again, I want to make sure that everybody understands, as of June 1st, if I don't have your petitions in by June 1st, I'm not going to go through and vet it and include it in that recommendation for July. And that would be the goal every year. So at least we have a month to do some calculations as far as where we're at, because we essentially got to look at every different petition. There's 41 files. It's going to be a lot of work. But it gives us at least a month to do it. If I'm late, I'll apologize at the first meeting in July. But certainly and then we'll do that again. Any petitions we receive outside that, we'll hold on to, but we're not going to review those.
Also to add to, as you all can see from the way he's we've had a lot of folks come in with dust day, and their perception is one signature on a mile gets the ball rolling.
That's what they were actually told at the beginning, I
Yes.
believe.
So I just want to be clear for the
Yeah.
public to know that, I mean, if there's 10 people on that road, to get that ball rolling, you need over 50%. And one's at the bottom of the list naturally.
Go to your neighbor
Yep.
and get their signatures.
Just so that's all clear for everybody. We got a lot of people.
And
bring
that might be
up.
something worth having in the newspaper. I don't know if we need to run an ad or an informational thing, but.
Yeah, well, and that's the goal, and I've had property owners that say, well, I'm the only house on this half mile, they'll never pick me. I'm like, well, how many property owners? Well, in one case, it's 2 property owners own both sides of 1/2 mile. I'm like, well, you know, if you and your farmer neighbor agree, you know, you'll certainly rank high enough. Now, I can't guarantee how they're going to be selected once they're in,
Right.
but if I know you're interested, it sure beats fighting people on it. That's not at
Right.
all our goal in this. This is whether it's seeded dollars or highway department dollars. We're trying to put the money and invest it into the county, and
Well, and
there's
I think
opportunities there to do projects.
To add to what you're saying, there's times where we have projects that might slow us down, but we want to keep the paving project moving.
Yeah.
And that road might be taken in advance
Yeah.
because it works. Then we're not going to lose that
Well,
progress.
We don't. If we're setting budget money aside, it may seem counterintuitive, but if there's budget money to be spent and there's 1/2 mile worth in funds,
Keep it moving.
we'll keep moving. You know, there's a certain backlog of work and there's interest, then we'll certainly do our best to try to do those improvements, and if they can tie to other projects. Once I have the backlog of work, it allows me flexibility to plan against the bridge and drainage projects that go through, and Jared as well with the surveyors department. That just seems to be a helpful process for us to go through. I'd love to have a backlog of work, and that justifies the money and the effort we're putting into this. So,
Good.
all right.
Thank you, Nate.
Thank
Do
you.
you want to bring up the right-of-ways?
And then we have right-of-ways. We have right-of-ways for County Road 500 South, 500 West, and one for Bridge 18 on 750 East. And that actually provides all the right-of-ways that we needed for 5 South and 5 West.
Yay.
Motion to accept is presented to us.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-0.
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you, Nate. Hey, thank you.
Thanks for keeping us updated, too.
Certainly.
Carolyn, you are next.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm here today because we are switching software vendors in our office. We're going from COT Systems, who we've been with since 2008, to CSI. What I'm really asking for today is that we be able to close our office to the public on June 30th. That's been requested by our new vendor, not only for searcher training on that day, but also so that the final data extraction can be done on that day.
Will you be able to post something in the paper such to that effect?
I can do that.
Yeah, that's probably a good
And the
idea.
website.
Yeah, and the website also.
Website, yeah.
IT, make a note of that.
Right.
That'd be great.
Also notices on the doors.
Right.
Courthouse.
I'd make a motion to accept that rec.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-0.
Also, another thing, on that same date, on July 1st, the recorder, the fees are going to be changing. And it's not something that the Indiana Reporters requested, but it's really a simplification that the head of the Title Association requested. So we're basically going to have 2 different fees in our office. One is a mortgage fee, and the other one is for basically all other documents. Mortgages will be $55. All other documents will be $25 except UCCs. And I think they're really hoping that that will cut down on any type of confusion. rejections from our office, and
Are those higher or lower, close to the same?
it's going to be a little bit higher, but there hasn't been a price increase since 2006. We're really just going to have to wait and see. We're just really dependent on what is delivered to our office.
That might be worth putting on the website as well.
Yeah, I will do that. We're waiting for an official document to come out from the Reporters Association for that. So,
Great.
okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Other business? I'll wait till she's done, but this Saturday, we have a shredded event with the Solid Waste District out at the corner of the farm store by McDonald's. So 9 to 12, 6 boxes, shred for free. So.
Okay,
National Prayer Day?
we have a request for National Prayer Day at the Courthouse Plaza this Thursday, May the 4th, trying to set up at 4 p.m. and service at 6:15.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 3-0.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That's all I have.
Oh, that was quick. Right.
RSD appointments, commissioners' appointments. Bill?
Was there anybody that
Nobody
received
applied.
an application?
For county council. County council advertised.
Right.
County Council advertised. I didn't get any applications.
Is our commissioners' slots filled?
No. We have an appointment for them too. We have, the commissioner has an appointment open, and so does the council. But I don't have any applications.
Can it be an elected official?
And the possibility of needing another fill.
Yeah, I think that the mayor has.
Well, he has, Tom
Yes.
Ianson,
But we have.
At this
Council
juncture,
has
I'd be
a-
willing, I would be willing to take that position.
Okay. Do we need to make a motion to that effect?
Yes.
I move that Blake take the position for RSD.
Second. Thanks, Blake.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
2-0 and 1.
Yay.
We did have an update from the Cemetery Commission. I don't know if you want to mention that. Mr. Schaup
Yes,
called
last
me
night we
and-
got an email, so you can maybe.
Okay. Yeah, they sent an email. They've had 2 meetings, and they've toured all 4 of the county-owned cemeteries. They've made mowing arrangements for 3 of the 4. The 4th one actually did not require mowing, but they have scheduled a cleanup day in June for that one. And they've just, I think they've been happy to serve on the commission and getting started, and we let them know how much we appreciated their service. So. That's that.
Okay. Kev, anything else?
No, I attended LTAP meeting last week at Purdue. Nothing really to report.
And several meetings since the last commissioner meeting, notably the sewage issue at the golf course. So we'll be dealing with that. Unfortunately, it's something that's brought to our attention through NDOT. We don't go looking for issues, but they brought it to us. So at some point in time, we'll have to address that. So
Get volunteers to serve. Didn't hear if anybody.
had one person express possible interest. One also would like to be involved if somebody else was involved. So that being said, not sure where that is at this point in time, but I think we'll be able to get at least 2 to come forward. So. And Nate's been working with us and River Terrace due to the fact that they actually own the lift station. Not the line that exits the pumps, but. nothing else being said, Leon had a question.
Well, I'm having a hard time hearing everything. What were you saying about two people, if one comes on board and another one will, or what's the subject matter?
It's about the golf course.
Yeah.
His question was anybody that was at the meeting that evening, then last Wednesday evening.
Right.
One person gave me their information that would be interested, and one would
Interested
like to.
in what?
Huh?
Interested in what?
In being part of the solution with the homeowners. So
Okay.
actually one of the homeowners.
Within the homeowners themselves,
Yes.
not necessarily volunteer for the RSD.
Right,
Okay.
right. Yeah.
It was just to be involved in the
Yeah.
study with respect to different options that the residents might have for,
Right,
Right,
but not RSD.
okay.
A study committee.
right. So that being said, there was another individual that doesn't live in the affected area, and a homeowner said that's in the area said if this guy would be on it, I might be interested too. So, not sure how that could come into play due to the fact that the person that would be interested is not in the watershed,
Okay.
the affected watershed.
Do you have a feel at this point in time of the 37 homeowners, are they inclined to want to send sewage to the city? Or are they inclined to want to remain independent septic owners?
No feeling yet
Okay.
until we until we have an actual meeting.
Right.
Again, probably be privately as much as possible, just to get information. Then we can make that known. So,
The point of the meeting wasn't to come to a decision as to which option, but just to talk about the situation and Nate Rochlock explained some possibilities. The mayor was there and indicated that he was indicated that the city had capacity to treat the sewage, just the devil's in the details with respect to costs.
The reason I asked that question is because going back 18 years to 1999, when the McKinney-Paxson issue first came to a head, I am of the opinion that of those 74 homeowners, only a couple, the only one were in violation, but everybody was penalized because of that one or two or three, whatever. I don't want to see the county history repeat itself in this situation. If in fact the homeowners, the 37 homeowners, are inclined to remain independent septic tank owners, then the guilty party should be identified and take care of his own, because I have my own septic tank. I expect to take ownership of my own. I don't expect everybody else to take care of mine. And I think that was a mistake with McKinney-Paxson 18 years ago, that everybody got lumped into a guilty situation, and I'm sure they weren't.
the situation we have out there currently is we have a line. Actually, we have 3 lines, and these 3 lines, we've been told, are actually trenched in, and a group of homes are on it. I mean, so 5 from one way, maybe 20 from another way, and 15 from another way. They're all in this line. And nobody's actually denied that. Out of this situation, we also have, I believe, 5 that have approved systems. They would not be required to connect. If they want to, maybe in a 10 to 20 year time frame is what we were looking at possibly as an option. Mr. Remke, for an example, put a $30,000 system in just within the last 12 months. He wanted to connect and was not allowed, and due to the fact that he just did this, he would be an example that probably would receive a waiver for a period of time. So, that being said, we also, in that watershed, have 3 people currently tapped into this pressure line that goes to the city, that's owned by the city.
The sanitarian said, looking through the records, one system was a cluster system of 4 homes that typed it directly into the Wabash. Well, that isn't going to work. A Slumdog Millionaire system
is not acceptable. If it was acceptable then, it's certainly not now.
Right.
So, we said there wasn't any there wasn't any guilt or innocence determined. It's just there's raw sewage. The next step, any of the property owners can request a dye test. Just the consequence of the dye test. If the dye test fails, they automatically got, 10, 15 days to correct, or automatically go into pump and haul. So fine, you want a dye test to show that your system's functioning, great. If it fails, you're on pump and haul. And you want to wait 19 years for McKinney-Paxson on pump and haul? I don't think so. So I understand your point that you shouldn't assume that they're all guilty.
Right.
But the State Board of Health said, here's the law, is you've got to show your system meets it. The government doesn't have to show that it's failed. You have to show that your system's functioning. So based on those odds and what we know about their systems, if their system's failing to put in a new system, they don't have sufficient property or certainly the soil conditions that any system that could be approved would fit or work.
It's not an easy.
Kind of puts the people between a rock and a hard spot.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the systems that were currently installed, she doesn't have information of the length. And a lot of the people, not a lot, several of the people hit me up and said, we expected this 15, 20 years ago
Oh, really?
to be satisfied. You know, we just knew this was coming. This day was coming.
I see.
And then there's other ones that, under their breath, saying, well, nothing's ever going to get done.
Yeah.
So, you know, you've got it both ways. So.
I wish I
Something
was
will
in
get
that
done,
meeting.
but-
I'm just having to take your
Well,
comments.
it was video. Dale video.
Was it video? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
we
read-
asked
I read the-
we asked them to
we
videotape
appreciate
it since
it. I
available on the website.
apologize for not giving you kudos for being there. We really appreciate that. I know we're going to pay for it, but that's okay. I wanted everybody that wasn't there have the availability of looking at it on the
Okay.
Wells County Voice website. So.
Was it archived? Can you go back and see it? Okay.
So the whole point wasn't to repeat McKinney-Paxson 19 years, but to try to make property homeowners aware of the problem and explain some possible solutions. But it's their expense. They ought to at least have an interest in wanting to formulate what the solution is, rather than somebody impose a solution.
And that's why we were looking for volunteers or people in the watershed that would want to work with us. So.
There's no reason to believe that this problem isn't elsewhere. We know Southern Wells schools. I've heard of other areas out in the county. The last commissioners meeting, we had a preliminary housing study. You know, the county's not going to grow without building affordable housing. And if you're going to build, where are you going to build? You might only be able to build where you have a connection to a sewage treatment plant. So unless the RSD wants to go in the sewage treatment business, a connection to a municipal is at least an obvious option. So I think we need to have the RSD at full employment, that everybody's appointed and functioning. And unfortunately, as an RSD board member is connected to municipal sewage works, then they can't serve any longer.
Well,
So it's kind of like the people most concerned are interested in it.
Yeah.
And once they've connected,
they're out.
then they're out.
Yes. It's, I think one flaw in the law has led to another flaw in the law. That's, I don't know. That's life.
I know a couple people that have shown interest but haven't been willing to step forward. So we'll just have to wait and see how that presents itself. You get somebody that has really a desire to make it work, but might have ramifications in their personal life that might not want to take that risk. So, all right, I'm going to open it up for comments or questions. Anything else, guys? If not,
Motion to adjourn.
second. Apologize. Comments from the audience.
One of the things that the microphones, are they working or not working? We're having trouble hearing through the back. And I didn't know where people don't talk into them.
Mine was probably turned. We only have two. Probably need to get one
That's
up.
one of the things that we all have trouble hearing because, well, the air conditioning is one thing, but I think
There's
they're
space in the
working.
front row, John.
I'm sorry?
There's space in the front row, John.
Well, I understand that, but Carolyn's talking, and I couldn't hear her at all, but she wasn't talking into her microphone. So if you could get people to talk.
They seem to be turned up really loud today,
We could
earlier.
hear, even front row or back row, if they would just talk into the microphone.
So what you're saying is maybe if they practice their karaoke a little more, they'd be set.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Or if, John, if you stood up and waved.
Just give us the sign
Yeah.
next time.
Okay.
That'll remind us.
Well, we've had that trouble before, I
I
think.
know.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for coming.